Live from Rapid City, Post 22 Baseball is on the air. It's a very interesting day of baseball, a doubleheader being played, but with only one of the teams involved in tonight's matchup. The doubleheader pits the Hardhats in Game 2 against the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. With that being said, we say good evening and we welcome you inside Rudy's Corner here from Floyd Fitzgerald Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and as always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 coming up against the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, who lost 13-3 on the 10-run rule to the Post 22 Expos just moments ago. So with that being said, we are moments away from first pitch with Zach Sumption throwing his warm-up pitches on the mound. Let's walk you through the batting order for the Zephyrs first. Leading off for the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska is number 26, Trent Richter. He's out at second base. Batting second is number 27, Creighton Dyke. He's out at first base. Batting third is number 23, Paul Panduro. He's the backstopper and catcher. And in the cleanup spot is number 9, Jack Jones. He's patrolling center field. Batting fifth is number 22, Harold Baez, out at the shortstop position. And batting sixth is number 13, Ty Core. He'll serve as the starting pitcher for Wesco tonight. Batting seventh is number 15, Graham Robbins. He's patrolling left field. Batting eighth is number 16, Nate Blackos, out in the hot corner at third base. Rounding out the batting order in the 9 spot for Wesco is number 8, Adam Soto, and he's patrolling right field. On the mound against Wesco tonight is Zach Sumption. And Sumption comes in for just his 7th appearance of the season and only his 2nd by virtue of his start. 12 2/3 innings of work under his belt with an 0-1 record to his credit, but he's 2 for 2 in save opportunities. 8 strikeouts to 5 walks on the season with a 1.66 ERA when on the mound for Post 22. As we all know, Zach Sumption normally in right field, his right arm on the mound tonight. Defensive alignment for the Hardhats has Sumption and his right arm on the mound paired up with his catcher, Ryan Schmidt. Different lineup for the Hardhats, so bear with me here. At first is Dylan Ritchie. At second, Ryan Bachman. At shortstop is Mason Messenger. And in the hot corner at third is Matt Heggery. Left to right in the outfield, Todd Stevens, Drew Messer, and Branson Keel. The Zephyrs, again, they lost 13-3 to the Post 22 Expos moments ago in Game 1 of what is their doubleheader today. And Zach Sumption starts ours off against Trent Richter, and he throws ball 1 high and away to start off the ball game at officially 6:21 tonight. Calling the balls and strikes, Robert Bradford behind home plate. In the field, Clyde Yogi Milslagle, and the next pitch is swung on and hit to the left side of the infield, and it trickles into left for a base hit. So Trent Richter, the second baseman, a right-handed batter, leads off with a single here in a scoreless top of the first of our 7 innings of regulation tonight. And that'll bring us to Creighton Dyke, the first baseman for the Zephyrs. The amateur meteorology report shows 93 degrees out. It is quite humid, very hot. The sun's still blazing. First pitch from Sumption upstairs to Dyke, who showed bunt. 1-0. But nonetheless, this is baseball weather here on this beautiful July 10th. Sumption now pitching from the stretch. Dyke looking over to his third base coach for a signal from the the batter's box. And the 1-0 swung on, and it's fouled. So Dyke went from showing bunt to swinging away. He fouls off the next pitch. It's 1-1. Trent Richter is on first base with the leadoff single. No one out in a top of a scoreless first inning here between the Zephyrs and the Hardhats. Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Post 22, with a 37-8 record, looking to improve just a little bit. Here's a shot to short, a line drive. Messenger catches it, throw to first in time. And that is out number 1 and 2 of the inning. An L6-3 double play. And that's going to bring up Paul Panduro, the catcher, also a right-handed batter. Empty base path for him, and quickly 2 outs. Panduro steps in, righty on righty against Sumption here. And the pitch. Fastball high and inside, 1-0. It's a different batting order for the Hardhats as well, not just the lineup itself. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed on a high fastball. And that'll go to 1-1 to Panduro. Todd Stevens, Matt Heggery, and Holden Jackson, the top 3 in the order. Sounds very different from what we're normally used to here. Next pitch swung on. It's chopped third base side. Stops made on the play by Heggery. Throw to first is barely in time. And that is going to end the inning. 5-3 in the book. Ends the top half of the first. No runs on a hit with no errors and nobody left on the base path. We've played half an inning of baseball. We're still scoreless, and post 22 is about to come to the sticks. We'll take a step aside, and when we come back, Todd Stevens, Matt Heggery, Holden Jackson, top three in the order. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 now transitions from defense to offense. And so here is the Hardhats batting order as it follows in the bottom halves of our 7 innings of regulation here in Game 2 of this crazy doubleheader tonight. Leading off for the Hardhats is number 17, Todd Stevens. He is patrolling left field. Batting second, number 21, Matt Heggery. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting third is number 20, Holden Jackson, serving as the designated hitter tonight. And in the cleanup spot is number 28, Dylan Ritchie. He's out at first base. Batting fifth is number 25, Ryan Schmidt, serving as the backstopper and catcher for the Hardhats. Batting sixth is number 10, Ryan Bachman, out at second base. Batting seventh is number 11, Branson Keel, patrolling right field. Batting eighth is number 24, Drew Messer, patrolling center field. And rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot is number 12, Mason Messenger, and he is out at the shortstop position. On the mound for the West Coast Zephyrs is the number 6 man in their batting order, Ty Core, number 13, a right-handed pitcher to take on the Hardhats, which, as far as I'm concerned, unless somebody decided to develop switch hitting abilities overnight, is an entirely right-handed batting roster, so no mismatches to be had, of course, unless Connor King decides to step in there and pinch hit. Defensive alignment for the Zephyrs has Core on the mound, paired up with the battery mate and catcher, Paul Panduro. At first is Creighton Dyke. At second is Trent Richter. At shortstop is Harold Baez. And in the hot corner at third is Nate Blackos. Left to right in the outfield is Graham Robbins, Jack Jones, and Adam Soto. Very different lineup for post 22 tonight. Getting ready for the Gopher Classic, which, as we all know, is a highly contested tournament in Minnesota. What I love about the Gopher Classic is it's basically the March Madness equivalent of baseball, where you have 16 different pools, 6 teams at a pool. There's over 100 teams in the tournament of course, varying levels of skill and ability, but nonetheless, it's such a great measuring stick for this post-22 program. Only once in the last 3 years that I've covered the team in the Gopher have they made it to the knockout stage. That was my second season, and they ended up losing to Wayzata, who ended up winning, I believe, the Minnesota State Championship that year. And so there's such a great depth of competition in that tournament at the Hardhats. They could either go through a gauntlet, run through the group stage, or have a varying degree of difficulty. Well, Todd Stevens takes the first pitch off of his body, so that will result in a hit by pitch. So Ty Core not off to a great start as he hits Stevens with his first pitch. So already the leadoff man on for the Hardhats, and that will now bring us to Matt Heggery batting second. So while Todd Stevens is batting .372 on the season and his average won't go up, his on-base percentage of .509 most certainly will. And the first pitch to Heggery misses the zone. It's 1-0. Matt Heggery on the season coming into this game batting .330. The Zephyrs again lost game 1 of what is their doubleheader tonight, 13-3 to the Expos. Post 22 playing them in game 2. 1-0 pitch is swung on, and it's hit down the third baseline and fair into the corner for a base hit. Stevens is going to round second. He'll head to third as Heggery trots to second with a double. So the Hardhats get their first hit and just their second batter of the ball game, and it happens to be a double to Hegre. That'll put 2 men in scoring position and bring up Holden Jackson, who tonight for the Hardhats will serve as the designated hitter. And batting .345 on the season, who wouldn't be eligible for that designated hitting role. Jackson normally plays left field, but more often than not as a pitcher. But when he's in the field or in the lineup, he's normally in left. His first pitch is swung on, and it's hit to short. Backhand stop is made on the play, and the throw to first is almost off track, but just in time, as Baez got the throw over to Creighton Dyke. And that'll be 1 out, but a run comes in to score. It's an RBI 6-3 ground out for Jackson, and the Hardhats start off with a 1-0 lead. Matt Hegre moves over, or rather stays put on second, I should say, in the sequence. Coming in to score was Stevens. So it's 1 out with a man on second, and that'll bring up Dylan Ritchie, playing at first base. First pitch is a breaking ball low and away. That'll be 1-0. Ritchie batting .500 on the season, but this is only his 10th game swinging the bat. He's 10 for 20 on the season in 23 plate appearances. He's struck out once. He's walked 3 times. His 1-0 misses low and away, and quickly he is in the lead with a 2-0 count against Ty Core on the mound. Ritchie has Hegre standing on second. Core pitching from the stretch, a right-handed pitcher. And the 2-0 misses outside again. 3 balls, no strikes. (3-0) the count to Ritchie. And the pitch. Misses low and away for ball 4. And stealing third is Hegre, and the throw to third hit him in the bucket. And his helmet came flying off, but he seems to be all right. Maybe a little shaken up. And head coach Kelvin Torvey over there to see if he's all right. Both our home plate umpire, Robert Bradford, and our infield umpire, Clyde Yogi Milslegel, come over just to make sure he's okay as well. He took that one. It looked like it went right off the brim of his helmet. I could be wrong, but it definitely made contact with a bucket, and Hegre's still down. It doesn't look like he's in a terrible amount of pain, just trying to get his bearings straight. And the umpire is obviously coming over just to make sure that he's all right. So Hegre stole third. You can definitely give him credit for that. Dylan Ritchie walked on 4 pitches. With 1 out here in the bottom of the first, and the Hardhats up 1-0. It'll be men on the corners, and that'll bring up Ryan Schmidt. Tia Furman, our trainer, coming out quickly to have a quick chat with Hegre just to make sure he's all right. Again, you never want to take anything for granted when contact is made with the head, whether it's a throw, a pitch, collision, or anything, especially at this level. So they're just making sure that Hegre is all right, and they'll give him as much time as he needs just because of the nature of the sequence of events. Matt Hegre, very integral part of this Hardhats offense and defense alike. On offense, batting .370 with runners in scoring position and .330 on the season. Defensively, his glove has just been fantastic. And you'd hate to lose somebody like that before the Gopher Classic begins, especially to a sequence like that where it's just a throw out to third just to catch him stealing. Hegre looks like he's going to shake it off, and he'll take his lead off of third as we get ready for Ryan Schmidt's at-bat. Schmidt comes up with men 90 feet to his left and right, batting .337 on the season. 1 out here in the bottom of the first, and the Hardhats, thanks to the RBI ground out of Holden Jackson, are off to a 1-0 lead here against the Wesco Zephyrs. Ty Core, the righty, is back to it. And his first pitch. Swung on, and that ball's ripped into left field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Hegre's going to trot home and score, and in the meantime, advancing to second is Dylan Ritchie. A 1-out RBI single for Ryan Schmidt. And Post 22 now has a 2-0 lead with 1 out, men on first and second here in the bottom half of the first. Ryan Bachman now comes up to hit. Bachman, a right-handed batter against the righty and Core. Breaking ball called strike for his first pitch. 0-1 to Bachman. Not often that Bachman gets to contribute to the offense, but when he has, he's batting .324 on the season. This will be his 18th game out of what are now 46 for the Hardhats this season, taking some swings. 0-1, turned on high in the air to left field, but it goes foul, and Bachman is quickly behind 0-2. Bachman with men on first and second with runners in scoring position. He's batting .462, so obviously this is a very favorable spot for him. Maybe not necessarily a favorable countdown 0-2, but a good spot for him to try and knock in some more offense. 0-2, runner on second goes. Next pitch is swung on, and it's flared high in the air, foul. Right field side and into the Westco bullpen. 2-0, or excuse me, 0-2. Still the count to Bachman. Branson Keel patiently waiting in the on-deck circle. No balls and 2 strikes the count here to Ryan Bachman. And a check to second is not there in time as back safely is Ritchie. Dylan Ritchie on second, Ryan Schmidt on first. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the second, and the Hardhats up 2-0 over the West Coast Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. And the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball missed low and away. It'll be 1-2 now to Bachman. Ball and 2 strikes to count to the Hardhat second baseman. Men on first and second for him, 1 out in the bottom of the first. And the 1-2 just missed low and away. And the count evens up at 2-2. Dylan Ritchie with a decent lead off a second. And the 2-2. Swung on, ball is flared off foul again, first base side and in the stands. Actually, in the grandstands themselves. 2-2 still remains the count. First and second for Bachman, 1 out, bottom of the first. 2-0 is the Hardhats lead. And a check to second and back safely is Ritchie. Nothing bad comes of it. Post 22 playing in the Gopher Classic tournament this weekend. Seems almost every year they're playing for this championship in Minnesota. 2-2 pitch is low and away. It gets away from the catcher Panduro, and everybody will advance base. So Ritchie now advances to third. Schmidt to scoring position and second on the pass ball. So it'll be a full count to Bachman with 2 men in scoring position, which again, as we've mentioned, is a favorable situation. Batting .462 with men on either second or third. Payoff pitch comes from Core to Bachman. And the next pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to shallow center field. And the ball's going to drop for a base hit. And coming in to score is Ritchie. It'll be an RBI bloop single for Ryan Bachman. And Post 22 has extended their lead once again. 3-0 is the Hardhats lead. It'll be men on first and second as Bachman gets the RBI bloop single with 1 out. Branson Keel now comes up. He's patrolling right field tonight. Keel, a right-handed batter, steps in. He's batting .261 on the season, only his 12th game in which he has swung the bat this year. Check to second, not in time, and back safely is Ryan Schmidt. Keel on the year is 6 for 23 with 4 singles, a double, and a home run. And his first pitch misses low and away. It'll be 1-0. Keel has Bachman on first with the RBI single. Ryan Schmidt on second, also an RBI single to his credit. 3-0 the Hardhats lead here in the bottom of the first with 1 out. And the 1-0 from Core. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left center field, and it looks like it goes over the head of the center fielder, Jack Jones, and all the way to the warning track. Rounding third, heading home is Schmidt. Stopping at second is Keel with an RBI double, and at third is Ryan Bachman. Post 22 now with a 4-0 lead. 2 men in scoring position and 1 out here in the bottom of the first. That's the second double of the inning for the Hardhats. And now Drew Messer, who's playing center field tonight, comes up. Two men in scoring position. And still one out here in the bottom of the first. His first pitch, a called strike on a breaking ball outside corner. 0-1. Drew Messer on the season, still looking for his first hit with the Hardhats. 0 for 10 in 13 plate appearances. He has struck out and walked both once each. And the next pitch is low and away, and they kind of leaving up to a ball and a strike. Just the 9th game in which Messer is swinging the bat out of what are now 46 on the season for the Hardhats. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's lined into left field, and it looks like that's caught on the play. And they're going to double him up at second to get the inning over. Unfortunate base running mishap there for Branson Keel as Messer lines to left and then is doubled up at second to end the inning. So 4 runs on 4 hits for the Hardhats, no errors charged to the Zephyrs, and 1 man left on base. We've played 1 inning of baseball. Post 22 has jumped out to a very quick 4-0 lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top half of the second. Zach Sumption to continue against the heart of the order. The Zephyrs will be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Already 1 inning in, folks, and we have some defensive substitutions to speak of. Matt Hegre, it looks like, has been pulled from the ball game. Dylan Ritchie's going to move across the corner of the infield to third base, while Jack Sorensen will be substituted in to play first. So your infield defense has Sorensen at first, Ryan Bachman at second, Mason Messenger at short, and Dylan Ritchie in the hot corner at third. It looks like Matt Hegre will not go for the remainder of the ball game. And if that is the case, then Jack Sorensen would slot into his spot in the order, which means that he would bat second and would be due up in the bottom half of the second inning. First pitch to the left-handed hitting Jack Jones is fouled. 0-1 his starting count. Zach Sumption still on the mound for Post 22. 4-0 the Hardhats lead. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. And that's a fastball high and away, 1-1. Numbers across the board through a frame. For the Hardhats, it's 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors. And for the Zephyrs, no runs on a hit with no errors. 1-1 pitch, swung on, hit right back up the middle by Sumption. It comes to Bachman at second. On the run, throw to first is in time. What a brilliant play by Ryan Bachman at second to barely get the throw off. It looked like when that ball snuck right behind Sumption, it was going to be an infield hit. Ryan Bachman comes up with a huge infield assist. And there's 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats, and it'll bring us to Harold Baez, the shortstop. Baez, a right-handed batter, the second man scheduled to hit. Behind him is Ty Core, the starting pitcher. First pitch is swung on, ball's hit super high in the air to the right side of the infield. Sorensen has his first play right to him at first, and that will be out number 2 on just 1 pitch to Baez. 4 pitches in the inning, 2 up, 2 down, and that'll bring us now to Ty Core, the pitcher. Core is an empty base path, 2 outs here in the top of the second, and he swings and misses at his first pitch. 0-1 the count. If Core's retired, the Hardhats will send 9-1 and 2 to the sticks here in the bottom half of the second. 0-1 pitch is high and inside, and the count will even up now to a ball and a strike to Core. Ball and a strike the count, Sumption right back to it. And the 1-1 is fouled to the mesh behind home plate. Ball and 2 strikes now to Core. Sumption's pitching counterpart in this ballgame. One ball and 2 strikes the count, and the pitch. Swung on, ball is flared foul, right field side, and into the Zephyrs bullpen. And the count will hold at 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes the count. Sumption still looking for his first K, and the 1-2 pitch. Just missed on a fastball low and away, and the count will leave it up at 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes the count, and the next pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. Strike 3 was dropped, and the throw to first is in time, and that'll be the final out. The Zephyrs go down 1-2-3 here in the top of the second against the Hardhats defense, which, as we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We played an inning and a half of baseball, and Post 22 has jumped out to a 4-0 lead. We'll be right back with the Hardhats back on the offensive in the bottom of the second here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Post 22 will be playing in the Gopher Classic tournament later this week. We're all very excited for the Gopher to come around. Always one of my favorite tournaments just because, again, it makes me feel like I'm in the March Madness of baseball, especially in Minnesota. There's a ton of competition that Post 22 ends up playing against. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare this year. 9-1 and 2 slated to hit for Post 22. That'll start off with Mason Messenger, who's out at shortstop. Normally playing at second base. For this game, he's been slotted at the 6th position. Ty Core's first pitch to Messenger is a breaking ball. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to dead center field. Underneath it at center is Jack Jones, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Jones looks like he was shaded really far to the left of center field, but had enough range to come over and make the catch. Back to the top of the order we go. One down here in the bottom of the second. Todd Stevens started off all the offensive entries for Post 22 with a hit by pitch. He still has yet to have a registered at bat. First pitch, a breaking ball low and away. It's 1-0. Stevens, of course, came across to score the first run of the ball game for Post 22. They have a 4-0 lead against the Zephyrs here in the bottom of the second. 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball missed low, 2-0. The Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, playing in a doubleheader today. They lost game 1 of the doubleheader to the Expos. 13-3 was the final in the bottom half of the 6th. Here is the 2-0 pitch. And that's a breaking ball missing low and away. 3-0 now to Stevens. Ty Core on the mound, about to throw pitch number 26. And the 3-0. Breaking ball, high and away, ball 4. So that'll draw a 1-out walk for Stevens. And that brings us to Jack Sorensen, who is batting in the 2-hole for Matt Hegre. Hegre led off with a double and then trying to steal third. He took the throw off of his helmet. And I guess this is just precautionary for him. They let him come in to score his run when he was still on third back in the bottom of the first. And after that sequence, they pulled him from the ball game. First pitch to Sorensen inside for ball 1. Sorensen on the season batting .362. In now 39 of 46 games played. Runner goes, next pitch high and inside, and the throw to second's not in time. Stevens beats it out. So Stevens gets a stolen base, and it'll be a 2-0 count to Sorensen, with Stevens standing on second. 2 balls, no strikes to count here from Ty Core. Looks into Sorensen, and the 2-0 pitch. Called strike. Fastball right down the middle. It's 2-1. 2 balls and a strike to count here to Sorensen. And the pitch. Swung on. Ball's hit sky high in the air to shallow center field. Coming in from the shortstop position to make the catch is Harold Baez, and that'll be 2 down on the pop 6. And standing on second with 2 outs, and that's going to bring us to Holden Jackson, the DH. Jackson 0 for 1 with an RBI groundout. Here is the first pitch. Breaking ball inside. 1-0. It's a nice breaking ball from Core. It was just too far inside. And it was one of those breaking pitches where it starts in at the batter and then breaks back into the zone, but it just broke too far in. 1-0 pitch. Fastball low and away. Gets away from the catcher. Stevens thought about going to third, but he held up. It'll be 2-0 to Jackson with Stevens standing on second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second with the Hardhats up 4-0. Core looks to second. He'll pitch from the stretch. 2-0. Cranked high in the air to left field. That ball has some legs on it. It has some distance, and it's over the arm of Grant Robbins in left. 1 run's going to come in to score. Jackson will take second with a 2-out RBI double. And Post 22 now has a 5-0 lead as Stevens comes in to score. So 5-0 now, the Post 22 lead. That'll bring up Dylan Ritchie, the first baseman, now turned third baseman. Ritchie switching to the opposite side of the diamond because of Matt Hegre leaving the ballgame. First pitch to Ritchie. Mitch is at his letters, 1-0. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball also at the letters. It'll be 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to Ritchie with a man on second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Now a 5-0 Hardhats lead over the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. 2-0. Breaking ball, swung on, hit high in the air to right field. Coming in from right is Adam Soto. Soto will make the catch, and that ends the bottom half of the second. Well, the Hardhats get a run on a hit. No errors charged to the Zephyrs, and a man left on the base path in scoring position. We played 2 innings of baseball in Post 22. Has an early 5-0 lead over the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. We'll take a step aside with 7, 8, and 9 due up here in the top half of the third for the Zephyrs. We'll be right back in just a few moments here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Two innings are in the books, and Post 22 in the bottom half of the second added to its already early lead. 5-0 now the score over the Wesco Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Numbers across the board for the Hardhats: 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors in the field, and for the Zephyrs, no runs on a hit with no errors on defense. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. 7, 8, 9 slated to hit for the Zephyrs. Graham Robbins, the left fielder, Nate Blackos, the third baseman, and Adam Soto, the right fielder. First pitch to Robbins is hit to short. Messenger gets the stop and the throw to first to get 1 up, 1 down on 1 pitch for the Hardhats on defense. And quickly, Nate Blackos, the third baseman, will step in. So 1 pitch, 1 up, 1 down. Here in the top of the third with Post 22 up 5-0. Sumption, first pitch. Swung on, ball's hit again to short. Messenger gets a nice stop on the hop, and his throw to first is in time for out number 2. Mason Messenger's show right now here in the top of the third. 2 up, 2 down. That'll bring us to Adam Soto. I don't believe in the broadcaster jinx, but what I'm saying right now, I don't want to jinx, and I don't want to be blamed for such, so we'll just leave it after the next pitch. And it's irrelevant now as the first pitch is high and inside for ball 1. I have never seen the Hardhats field an immaculate inning before. 3 pitches, 3 outs. I've seen it happen for the opponent, never seen it happen for the Hardhats. 1-0, high and outside on a fastball to Adam Soto. It's 2-0. Empty base path for Soto and 2 outs here in the top of the third. 5-0, the Hardhats lead. 2-0 pitch. Misses low on the fastball, and that'll be 3-0 from Sumption to Soto. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. There's a strike right at the knees of Soto. It'll be 3-1. Soto a pitch away from his first trip to the base path in his first plate appearance. Here is his 3-1. And that's ball 4 upstairs. So he takes a 2-out walk. And that'll bring us back to the top of the order to Trent Richter, the second baseman, who's 1 for 1. Led off the entire ball game with a single. He was caught in an L6-3 double play, though. That quickly took him off the base path when Creighton Dyke, next in the order, came up. Lined out to short. First pitch, high and inside to Richter, 1-0. Five nothing, the Hardhats lead. Top of the third, they're on defense with 2 outs and a man on first to worry about. And that man on first is Adam Soto. He's checked at by Sumption, but he's back there before the throw gets there. So it'll still be a man on first with 2 outs here in the top of the third. Sumption from the stretch. Likes what he sees. And the 1-0 is fouled over our press box. Ball and a strike now to Richter, the leadoff man. If Richter is retired, Schmidt, Bachman, and Keel are slated to hit for the Hardhats here in the bottom half of the third. If not, Creighton Dyke, batting in the 2 position for the Zephyrs, is on deck. Another check to first, not there in time. So still yet to see a 1-1 pitch thrown to Richter. 1-1, chopped at high in the air, shallow left. And able to not make the catch was Messenger. He came in from short. We thought he was going to come down with it. And he ended up batting it in front of himself. They're going to rule that a hit for Trent Richter, and he takes 2 bases. Not often you hear this, a bloop 2-out double. And Soto will move all the way to third. So it'll be men on second and third with 2 outs. That brings up Creighton Dyke. Dyke again 0 for 1, lined into that 6-3 double play. Schmidt and Sumption have some quick words for each other. Dylan Ritchie talking with the pitching coordinator, Ryan Clapperich, and it looks like Ritchie might be coming out of the ball game. Or at least getting looked at. Well, looks like a minor delay here as we figure out what exactly is happening at third base. But Ritchie, he almost pulled himself out of the ball game, it looked like. He might have some blood on his face, too. That's probably what they're trying to clean up here. Tia Furman, our trainer, has the nitrile gloves and some gauze on his face. Just to patch him up real quick. Whether he stays in or not, we don't know just yet. I don't really see too much action coming from the Hardhats dugout. Just some conferencing in the press box when that play for Messenger happened, moving over into the left field side of play. He may have taken some contact, and it looks like he hasn't stopped. And now it looks like Holden Jackson's going to leave the DH position and come to third. We knew it was going to be a crazy lineup tonight, but with Holden Jackson playing third, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'm sure he's played it at some point in his life. A lot of these players for Post 22 come into the program as well-rounded athletes. They've played everything. They've got their feel for what they want to do for the team. But it looks like Holden Jackson now is playing over at third base. Jackson has a rifle. That's a good and a bad thing over at third, because if you need that pinch play and you need a big throw over to first, he can get it there. Can he get it there accurately? And after a couple of times here on some warm-up throws, it looks like he can nail it to Jack Sorensen. So it looks like we'll play on. Creighton Dyke is up. 2 outs, men on second and third here in the top of the third. Post 22 has a 5-0 lead, but right now that's in jeopardy as the Zephyrs have 2 men in scoring position. Zach Sumption still on the mound, and now Holden Jackson playing over at third. So the Hardhats lose their DH. And the first pitch is over the head of Ryan Schmidt, and a run's going to come in to score. And now the Hardhats lead is 5-1. 1-0 the count to Dyke. Richter will move to third, and Soto will score on the wild pitch. Man on third and 2 outs now. And the next pitch hit high in the air to the infield, left side. Messenger underneath it from shortstop. And he's able to make the catch, and that'll end the top half of the third. Well, the Zephyrs get a run on a hit. No errors charged to the Hardhats, and 1 man left on the base path, 90 feet from home. We've played 2.5 innings of baseball, and Post 22's lead is now 5-1. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom half of the third here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru by Shields. Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Ty Core is still on the mound to take on Post 22 here in the bottom of the third. Schmidt, Bachman, and Keel slated to hit for the Hardhats. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Here is the first pitch. Breaking ball to Schmidt, called strike. 0-1. Schmidt had an RBI single earlier today. He's 1 for 1 with a run scored as well, and a run knocked in. Here is his 0-1 from Core, and that misses way low and away. 1-1. Schmidt, Bachman, Keel slated to hit for the Hardhats, barring any other substitutions. Here is the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, ball is hit to third, off the glove of Blackos, and they'll eat it in the infield, and that'll be ruled an E5, and Schmidt is safe. Should have been a routine play there for Blackos, but it went right off of his glove. And not much he can do even when they recover. By the time he picked the ball up and cocked back to even feign a throwing motion, Schmidt had already touched first. So here comes Ryan Bachman, and his first pitch is a breaking ball outside. 1-0 to Bachman, who has an RBI bloop single under his belt. Core from the stretch. 1-0 is flared opposite field and foul into the Zephyrs bullpen, and the count will even up at a ball and a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to count here in the bottom of the third. Post 22 up 5-1 over the West Coast Zephyrs. Core from the stretch. 1-1. Breaking ball, swung on, ball's hit to short, on a hop, stops made on the play, to second for 1, to first for 2, won't be in time. So it'll only be a 6-4 fielder's choice, so they get Schmidt out at second, and Bachman will stay safe at first. So it'll be an out with a man on first here in the bottom of the third. Hardhats up 5-1, that'll bring up Branson Keel playing out in right field. Keel has an RBI double under his belt from this game, so he is 1 for 1. Coming into his second plate appearance. Breaking ball, first pitch is a called strike right at his belt. 0-1 to Keel. 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Post 22 up 5-1. And the 0-1 misses low and away, and it gets off the glove of Panduro, the catcher. And taking advantage of second on the pass ball is Ryan Bachman. So it'll be a ball and a strike to Keel. 1-1 the count with a man on second. And 1 out here in the bottom of the third. 5-1 the Hardhats lead. Core deals his 1-1. That missed low and away. 2 balls and a strike. Core doesn't seem to have a lot of velocity, so a lot of these times he's going with that breaking pitch. It's all about timing against a pitch like this. 2-1. Misses low, and it gets away from Panduro again, and taking third once more is Bachman. Another pass ball puts him 90 feet from scoring. It'll give Keel a 3-1 count. Still 1 out. Here in the bottom of the third, 5-0 the Hardhats lead. And the 3-1 pitch. Called strike. Breaking ball inside at the knees of Keel, and the count will go full. Full windup from Core. Payoff pitch. Swung on. Ball's turned high in the air, but it's foul. And the count will hold full for payoff pitch number 2. 5-1 the Hardhats lead. 1 out and a man 90 feet to the left of Branson Keel. And payoff number 2 catches him looking, strike 3. And that'll be K number 1 for Ty Core in this start. 2 up, 2 down for the Hardhats on offense with a man on third. And that'll bring us to Drew Messer. So right after Schmidt reached on the error. The next pitch swung on, ball's hit down the third base line into left for a base hit. 1 run's going to score. Messer comes into second, and he has his first hit of the season. A 2-out RBI single. He'll advance to second on the throw. Or excuse me, RBI double, and now Post 22's lead is 6-1. 2 outs and a man on second here in the bottom of the third. Mason Messenger now comes up. Messenger 0 for 1 in this ball game. Messer, his first hit of the season, his first hit as a Hardhat. First pitch, a breaking ball low and away. 1-0. Messenger has Messer standing on second. 2 outs, bottom of the third. It's a 6-1 Hardhats lead. And the 1-0 is a called strike, even though the pitch was dropped. 1-1. If Messenger's the last out, Panduro, the lefty, Jones, and Baez are slated to hit for the Zephyrs in the top of the fourth. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball high and inside. It'll be 2-1 now to the Hardhat shortstop. And the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit right back up the middle and off the glove of a diving second baseman in Richter into center field. Rounding third, heading home is Messer, And safe at first with a 2-out RBI single is Mason Messenger. Post 22's lead is now 7-1 with 2 outs and a man on first here in the bottom half of the third. Todd Stevens back to it. He's still 0 for 0 technically. Hit by a pitch, walked both times, came across the score for the Hardhats. There's a check to first before we see a first pitch to Stevens. Nothing comes of it. And the first pitch to Stevens is a called strike. 0-1 the count to the hard-hat left fielder. He scored twice. He's been on the base path twice. Still doesn't have a hit to show for it. And the next pitch misses, 1-1. One pitch from Core, breaking ball high and inside. It'll be 2-1 out of Stevens. Stevens has already worn one tonight. Hit by a pitch and he walked. Two one. Missed high and away. 3 balls and a strike now to Stevens. 2 outs with a man on first for Stevens here in the bottom of the third. Post 22 now up to 7-1. 2 runs in the inning on 2 hits and an error. Next pitch, lined right to third. Catch made by Blackos, and that'll end it. So 2 runs on a pair of hits with an error charged to the Zephyrs. And a man left on the base path. We've played 3 innings of baseball. And Post 22 still has a 7-1 lead. Take a step aside and come right back with the 4th inning in just a few moments here on Post 22 Baseball on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 all set now for the start of the 4th inning here at the Fitz. Game 2 of a doubleheader, which Post 22 only playing 1 game of the 2. Technically 2, but the Expos played game 1. The Hardhats are playing game 2. And that is who you are listening to right now. The Hardhats have a 7-1 lead over the West Coast Zephyrs representing Scottsbluff, Nebraska as we come to the top of the 4th. Numbers across the board for the Hardhats, 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors on defense. And for the Zephyrs, it's a run on a pair of hits with an error. Zach Sumption still on the mound, looking at 3, 4, and 5 in the order for the Zephyrs. Paul Panduro, the catcher, leads off and looks at ball 1. And Sumption quickly back to it. His 1-0 is swung on and missed. 1-1. Panduro, the catcher, Jack Jones, the left-handed hitting center fielder, and Harold Baez, the shortstop. Here's a 1-1. Called strike. Well-placed fastball from Sumption right at the knees of Panduro. It's 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes to count. Sumption still looking for that second strikeout. And the 1-2 swung on and just fouled. Panduro threw his hands at that one and it just clipped the bat. Went right in the meshing. Ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2. Fastball is upstairs, 2-2. Sumption very efficient in this game. His next pitch is about to be number 36, and we're in the 4th inning. Right on the first batter. Here is the 2-2 to Panduro. Swung on, ball's hit to short. Messenger, nice stop on the run to his left. Throw to first is in time, and that'll be out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats on defense. Now brings us to Jack Jones, the left-handed hitting center fielder. Jones 0 for 1, a ground out to second, right to Ryan Bachman. And that was a fantastic play from Bachman, if I do recall correctly. Went right by Sumption on the mound. Bachman, a great stop at second. First pitch is flared high in the air to left center field. Drew Messer on the run, diving, and he makes the catch. Are you serious? What a catch by Drew Messer, going from center to left center. Unbelievable catch. And that is out number 2. My goodness. I think there's a 4-letter network in Bristol that would like that catch. Unbelievable. 2 up, 2 down for the Hardhats on defense. Now brings us to Harold Baez, the shortstop. He's also 0 for 1 with a pop out to first. First pitch, swung on. Ball's hit high in the air. Foul territory. Coming in from third, Jackson. He makes the catch, and that'll end the top half of the 4th. Well, the Hardhats have completed one half of the ball game, and in the top of the 4th on defense, they go in 1-2-3 fashion, which, as we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We played half the ball game, and Post 22 still has a 7-1 lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom of the 4th and the start of the second half here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. All set now for the bottom half of the 4th inning here at the Fitz. Game 2 of this doubleheader between the West Coast Zephyrs and your Post 22 Hardhats. I say it's a doubleheader because the Zephyrs are playing in their second game. The Expos played them earlier and they won 13-3 on the 10-run rule in the bottom half of the 6th inning. It was a walk-off RBI double for the Expos that sealed the deal. Post 22 now coming in to play in Game 2 of this set. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Post 22 coming into the second half of this ball game as a 7-1 lead here in the bottom of the 4th. 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Hardhats. A run on a pair of hits with an error for the West Coast Zephyrs representing Scottsbluff, Nebraska. 2, 3, and 4 slated to hit in this inning. Jack Sorensen starts off. Sorensen was a second inning substitution after Matt Heggery was removed from the ball game. Sorensen moved to first, and then Dylan Ritchie took over at third when Heggery exited. First pitch to Sorensen, high and inside. He's 0 for 1 with a pop out to short, 1-0. Then Dylan Ritchie had a semi-collision trying to field a ball with Mason Messenger and Todd Stevens from left. He got bloodied up and then decided that he couldn't play anymore. And so they put Holden Jackson over at third. 2-0 now to Sorensen as the next pitch is high and inside. Ty Core still on the mound here for the Zephyrs, and here comes the 2-0 pitch to Sorensen. Called strike on an off-speed pitch. 2-1. Hard to really differentiate the changeup and the fastball here for Core. Not too much velocity, but his breaking pitches have been working very well tonight. 2-1 is a breaking ball high. 3 balls and a strike. And I say they're working well as in they're getting the correct break. They're just not hitting the zone. He's not throwing them for strikes. So he'll throw a breaking pitch, but it'll break low and away, and the Hardhats are disciplined batters. They're just going to let it fly. 3-1. That's a called strike on the outside, and the count goes full now to Sorensen, leading off the bottom of the 4th. 7-1 the Hardhats lead. Sorensen looking for his first hit of the ballgame. And here comes his payoff pitch from Core after a full windup, and it's ripped right up the middle and into center field for a base hit. So Jack Sorensen gets his first hit here in the bottom of the 4th to lead off, and that is going to bring up Holden Jackson, the DH turned third baseman. And now Zach Sumption is in the on-deck circle. He'll come into the cleanup spot for Dylan Ritchie. Jackson's first pitch, a breaking ball low and away, 1-0. And for those watching this game, that's exactly what I'm talking about with Core, is that his breaking ball is getting the right movement on it, but he's not throwing it for a strike, which renders the pitch borderline useless unless you're fishing for it. 1-0 is upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes now to Jackson. Jackson has Sorensen standing on first. No one out here in the bottom of the 4th. The Hardhats up 7-1. Here's a 2-0. Swung on, just foul to the mesh. 2-1 now to Jackson. Jackson is 1 for 2. 2 RBIs on the ball game. RBI double and an RBI ground out. Here comes the 2-1. Breaking ball, hit high in the air, foul to the left of our press box, right in front of the concessions. And the count evens up at 2-2. And here's the 2-2. Swung on, and the ball's fouled again. Jackson just throwing his hands at that pitch. Count will hold even at 2-2. Core is now at 71 pitches, so I'd imagine with the Zephyrs on a very short bench and having just played the Expos and lost 13-3 in Game 1, what exactly is their pitching strategy moving forward? One has to think. 2-2 to Jackson. Low and away, and the count goes full. Sorensen still on first. No one out here in the bottom of the 4th, and the Hardhats up 7-1. You would have to think, because Core is getting up there. Here comes the payoff to Jackson. Swung on, ball is chopped right into left field through the hole between third and short for a base hit. Sorensen stops at second. Jackson, a second hit of the ball game with a single, puts men on first and second, and that'll bring up Zach Sumption. Sumption, again, pitching in this game, but with Dylan Ritchie's removal and Jackson coming in at third, Sumption now has to bat as the pitcher. Batting .314 on the season. Ritchie went 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. We'll see what Sumption does. Men on first and second, no one out. And he looks at the first pitch, sink down, 1-0. Ryan Schmidt on deck. 1 for 2 with a ribby single, reach on an error, and a run scored as the next pitch to Sumption's low and away. That'll be 2-0. Two balls, no strikes to count to Sumption. 2 men on. No one out here in the bottom of the 4th. And the 2-0 is a called strike. That was a breaking ball right at his belt. 2-1. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball upstairs. And unable to be caught off of first is Jackson. Check got there, and it got away from the first baseman, Creighton Dyke. And I'm very surprised Sorensen didn't leave second, because Dyke still had to run and grab the ball. 3 balls and a strike now, the count here to Sumption. If the next one's ball 4, it'll load the bases up for Schmidt. Here comes Core's 3-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left field. Graham Robbins is underneath it, and he makes the catch for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th. So here comes Schmidt, 1 for 2 with a ribby single, a run scored, and a reach on an error in this ballgame. 1 out, men on first and second here in the bottom of the 4th. Post 22 up 7-1. Core, first pitch to Schmidt. Swung on, ball's lined in the air to left field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. It's going to go all the way to the wall in the corner. Rounding third, heading home on the play is Sorensen. Stopping at third is Jackson, and stopping at second with a 1-out RBI double is Ryan Schmidt. The Hardhats lead is now 8-1 with 1 out and 2 men in scoring position here in the bottom half of the 4th. Ryan Bachman now comes up with men on second and third. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Bachman again batting .462 on the season with runners in scoring position coming into this game. He already has a ribby under his belt. First pitch, swung on, ball's hit to the left side of the infield. Stops made on the play by Blackos at third, and the throw is airmailed over the head of Dyke. And it goes all the way into foul territory. Throw to second, though, is in time. They get Bachman, but Bachman clears the bases, and the Hardhats will now take a 10-1 lead with 2 outs and an empty base path here in the bottom half of the fourth. So he'll at least get credit for 1 run knocked in. I don't know about the second because of the throwing error. As the first pitch to Keel comes in, a strike 1, 1-0 the count. So it'll be an RBI. Even though it was an error, the run was practically guaranteed to come in with the situation at hand. So they'll give him the credit for the RBI. 0-1 pitch is turned on, but it's off the Buffalo Wild Wings pole and foul. And the count goes 0-2 to Keel. Ten to 1, now the Hardhats lead. Keel is a strike away from ending the inning, though. He's 1 for 2 with a ribby double and a backwards K. 0-2 pitch. And that's a breaking ball that misses low and away. 1-2. Core's now up to 83, soon to be 84 pitches. And again, with only 3 reserves on the bench here for the Zephyrs, I'd be very interested to see who they're going to throw if he can't go anymore. Time called just as soon as Core starts his windup. Ball and 2 strikes now from Core to Keel. Hardhats now have a 10-1 lead here in the bottom of the fourth. And the 1-2. Swung on, turned high in the air, but foul. Left field side, and the count will hold at 1-2. Keel has gone yard once this season. He is looking for that home run hit. He absolutely turned on that last pitch. If he was maybe a half a second later on it, it's probably leaving the park, and he's touching them all. Core, a full windup. Here comes the 1-2 to Keel on pitch 85, and it's a breaking ball. Caught him looking, strike 3. And Keel goes down for just the second strikeout of the game for Core, both of them against number 11. So the Hardhats get 3 runs on the play on 3 hits with an error charged to the Zephyrs. No one left on the base path. We've played 4 innings of baseball. Post 22 now has a 10-1 lead. We'll take a step aside, and we'll come right back with the top half of the 5th inning in just a few moments here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Ty Core, the pitcher of the West Coast Zephyrs, will lead off the top half of the 5th. Zach Sumption still on the mound, and he deals a fastball high and inside to start off 1-0. Post 22 carries a 10-1 lead here in the 5th inning. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Core flares his next pitch over the head of Bachman and into shallow right for a bleeder of a base hit. And so Ty Core will lead off with a single, and folks, that's just the 3rd hit of the ball game for the Zephyrs. Coming into the 5th, that'll bring us now to Graham Robbins, the left fielder. Numbers across the board through now 4+ innings of play. The Hardhats have 10 runs on 10 hits with no errors, and the Zephyrs have a run on 3 hits now with a pair of errors in the field. Sumption's first pitch, a swing and a miss to Robbins, 0-1. Robbins is 0 for 1, grounded out to short back in the top half of the 3rd. Led off that inning and was thrown out. No outs with a man on first, top of the 5th. Next pitch, called strike. Nice pitch from Subshin on the inside corner, and it's 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes to count. And the pitch. Swung on, ball's fouled. And Robin stays alive. Subshin just kind of reared back and let her fly. Try to get him with straight gas on the strikeout. Subshin only has 1 strikeout in this start, but to be quite honest with you, regardless of the strikeouts, he's been fantastic. Next pitch is ripped foul into the Zephyrs dugout, and the count will still hold at 0-2. He's been great. He's only walked 1. He struck out 1. And that was on a drop third strike. He's a pitch away from strikeout number 2, but more importantly, he's only allowed a run on 3 hits going into his 5th inning of work. And his defense has been solid behind him, too. 0-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit to second. Buckman the stop. To second for 1. Messenger to first for 2. Got it. A 4-6-3 double play. And quickly the Hardhats have registered 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, and that'll bring us to Nate Blackos, the third baseman. Blackos is 0 for 1 also with a ground out to Messenger at short. So a 4-6-3 double play for the Hardhats. Their second double play turn in this ballgame. And the first pitch to Blackos is a called strike. Breaking ball in the low outside corner from Subshin. 0-1. Looked like that was a slider-ish pitch. Had some movement to it. Next pitch is high and inside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike now for Blackos. If Blackos is retired, the Hardhats will send Messer, Messenger, and Stevens 8, 9, and 1 in the order. Next pitch, swung on and missed. 1-2 now to Blackos. Post 22, if they can get this last out, only needs a run and then they're done. 10-1 in their lead. You're in the top of the 5th. 1-2 is fouled to the mesh, and staying alive is Blackos. Subshin looking for that second K would put an end to this inning. Here comes the 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3, but strike 3's dropped. Schmidt comes from behind the backstop to field it, and his throw to first is not there in time. Goes off the glove of Subshin, and the inning will keep going, even though that's K number 2 for Subshin. So the drop third strike, unfortunately, goes against the Hardhats. Here comes Adam Soto, the right fielder. A man on first and 2 outs. Not really much Schmidt could have done there. He fielded it as well as he could. He had to make sure to not hit the runner, obviously, going to first. So Sorensen's put in a tight spot from that angle. Subshin deals the first pitch strike on a fastball to Soto, so he's behind 0-1. No, there's nothing really wrong with that play. There comes the 0-1. Too far inside on the fastball, and the count will even up at 1-1 out of Soto. Soto walked and came around to score the only run for the Zephyrs in this ballgame. 10-1 the Hardhats lead. 2 outs, top of the 5th with a man on first. Soto, a ball and a strike. And Subshin deals. Swung on, ball's chopped to second. Bachman on the high hop. Nice fielding by Bachman. Throw to first in time. And that will end the top half of the 5th. No runs on a hit, no errors, and a man left on the base path for Wesco Zephyrs, representing Scottsbluff, Nebraska. We played 4.5 innings out of 7 tonight, and Post 22 still has a 10-1 lead. If in the bottom half of the 5th the Hardhats score 1, the ball game will come to an end. We'll be right back in 30 seconds here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. We're trying to get our defensive substitution set as we start off the bottom half of the 5th inning. We have a change in pitching and a change in shortstop. It looks like Harold Baez has come in from the shortstop position to pitch. And heading over to the shortstop position from second is Trent Richter. So Baez comes in to pitch for Core, who went 4 innings. He allowed 10 runs. All 10 runs were earned on 10 hits. He struck out 2 in the effort on 85 pitches. Messer's first pitch swung on, hit to the new shortstop, and the throw to first is barely in time. The new shortstop, of course, is Trent Richter, who moved over from second. That'll be 6-3 in the book. 1 up, 1 down now brings us to Mason Messenger. Post 22 now at the start of the bottom of the 5th. There's 1 out and an empty base path at a 10-1 lead. Hardhats get 1 run in this inning. The ball game comes to an end. Moving over from first to second was Creighton Dyke. And taking over is Porter Robbins at first. Sorry, 13, Core actually moved to first. 2 balls, no strikes the count here to Messenger. And the 2-0. Swung on, ball's flared opposite field, but it goes foul. 2-1. Empty base path for Messenger, who is 1 for 2 with a ribby single and a fly out to center. Post 22 with a 10-1 lead over the Zephyrs here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 more run, and the game will come to its conclusion very early. Here comes the 2-1. Called strike on a nice fastball here from the new pitcher, Harold Baez. 2-2. And the 2-2. Swung on, ball's hit right up the middle, weak to short. Stops made on the play by Richter, and his throw to first is not in time. An infield single for Mason Messenger. He's now 2 for 3 on the game, and that'll bring us back to the top of the order to Todd Stevens. So 1 out, the winning run, or the game-ending run, I should say, also the winning run on first. But it's the game-ending run. If the Hardhats can plate it, the ball game comes to an end. First pitch to Stevens, swung on, ball's hit high in the air to short, and the stop is made on the play by Richter, and that'll be 2 down quickly for the Hardhats. Jack Sorensen now comes up. Mason Messenger, the game-ending run, standing on first. Post 22 has a chance to end this game almost 2.5 innings early. Or if you factor in their lead, 2 innings early, I should say. Sorensen 1 for 2, and his first pitch misses low and away. 1-0. Ball and no strikes to count. Baez from the stretch. 1-0. Pitch is ripped opposite field. Foul. And the count will even up at a ball and a strike. Well, you know Messenger's going on any kind of contact here with 2 outs. So he could feasibly end this from first. He's the only man on the base path. 1-1. Called strike on a pitch on the outside corner from Baez. It's 1-2. Baez, a very tall right-handed pitcher. Ball and 2 strikes. Baez looks to Messenger at first. And the 1-2. Fastball missed low and away. And the count evens up 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baez, great velocity, which is why you can see him as a late game pitcher. He can, just with this fastball alone, he can take your timing off because it's coming in hot. 2-2. Skips away from the catcher in Panduro. Messenger's going to move to scoring position at second on the pass ball. That'll move the count full to Sorensen. 3 balls, 2 strikes with the game-ending run standing on second. You can almost bet your bottom dollar that if Sorensen gets a base hit here, ball game will most likely come to an end. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Sorensen with Messenger on second. Payoff. Swung on and missed, strike 3. There's Baez's first strikeout of the relief appearance, and that'll end the bottom half of the 5th. No runs on a hit, no errors charged to the Zephyrs, and a man stranded in scoring position on second. We'll have to play another inning here as we go to the top of the 6th. Post 22 still has a 10-1 lead. Take a step aside, and when we come back with the top of the 6th, it's the top of the West Coast Zephyrs order here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Top of the order here for the West Coast Zephyrs as we start off the top of the 6th. Assumption still on the mound in this start, and he throws a first pitch ball high and inside to Trent Richter, the second baseman, now turned shortstop. Richter, Dyke, and Panduro slated to hit. Post 22 up 10-1 through the first 5 innings. Next pitch is hit high in the air, left side of the field. Jackson over at third makes the catch in very shallow left for out number 1. Richter now goes to 2 for 3. And that'll bring up Creighton Dyke, the first baseman turned second baseman. And he looks at a first pitch outside the zone, 1-0. All the no strikes to count from Sumption, and the 1-0. Swung on, ball's hit right up the middle is short. Messenger can't get to it, and it goes into center for a base hit. Creighton Dyke, who was 0 for 2, can now go down in the box score as 1 for 3 at the minimum. He gets a 1-out single here in the top of the 6th. That'll bring up Paul Panduro, the catcher, who's 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts to the left side of the infield. Post 22 has already converted 2 double plays in this ball game. See if they can go for the hat trick. Sumption from the stretch. First pitch, fouled. And it goes over Shep's Peak and out of play. Shameless plug, if you want to watch the game in luxury, watch the game from Shep's Peak, the big suite here at the Fitz. No balls and a strike the count here to Panduro. And the next pitch too far inside. Schmidt gets the block, and his throw to second almost made it, despite being very late, but it is not in time. And Dyke gets the steal to second. So it'll be a ball and a strike now to Panduro, with the man in scoring position. And 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Post 22 up 10-1 over the Zephyrs. And the 1-1 too far inside. 2 balls and a strike. Sumption from the stretch looks to second. 2-1. Swung on, ball's chopped to third. Stops made on the play by Jackson. Throw to first in time, and they'll get that second out. Dyke was held up at second, but then he took off for third the second Jackson made the throw. So 5-3 in the book, and Dyke will advance to third. 2 outs with a man 90 feet from home. That'll bring up Jack Jones, the left-handed hitting center fielder. Jones 0 for 2 in this ballgame. And as far as we're aware, barring any substitutions, he's the only lefty Assumption's going to see. First pitch swung on, hit into right field by Bachman for a base hit. A run will come in to score. It'll be a 2-out single for Jack Jones, and now the Hardhats lead has been cut to 10-2. So Dyke comes in to score. Harold Baez now comes in with a man on first, 2 outs. Here in the top of the 6th, and the Hardhats lead is now 10-2. So they will need 2 runs in the bottom half of this inning to end the ball game early. Otherwise, get out of the bottom of the 6th, go 1-2-3, or at least get 3 outs in the top of the 7th, and that's the ball game. First pitch from Assumption, a called strike to Baez, who's 0 for 2. 0-1 his count. 10-2 the Hardhats lead. 2 outs and a man on first here in the top of the 6th for the West Coast Zephyrs out of Scottsbluff. 0-1 pitch, a breaking ball, too far inside. 1-1. Ball and a strike to count. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit to the left side of the infield. Nice grab by Jackson on the run. Throw to first in time. And that will end the top half of the 6th. It's a run on a pair of hits. No errors charged to the Hardhats and a man left on first. 5.5 innings of baseball. Post 22 scores 2. We're done. If they don't, 3 outs in the top of the 7th will suffice. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV with the bottom half of the 6th. Post 22 just needs 2 runs and the ball game will come to an end. However, that's not for naught. If Post 22 does not get the 2 runs, all they need is 3 outs in the top of the 7th on defense, and that'll end it. Harold Baez comes back on the mound to face Post 22. Holden Jackson, Zach Assumption, Ryan Schmidt in that order, barring any substitutions from Coach Torvey and company. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Jackson on the ball game comes in 2 for 3 with a pair of ribbies, a double, a single, and a run scored, to his credit. Ten to 2, the Hardhats lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Leading off is Jackson. Baez, first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count. Pitching coordinator Ryan Clappridge gets over to the first base box. No balls and a strike to count. And the pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left center field. That ball has some legs on it. That ball has the distance, and it's off the glove of the left fielder Robbins, and it goes all the way to the warning track. Jackson thought about going for third. Instead, he rounds second, and he slams the brakes. Leads off with a double. And that'll bring up Zach Assumption with the leadoff man on second, and no one out here in the bottom of the 6th. Assumption came in for Dylan Ritchie. Ritchie went 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Assumption is 0 for 1 with a fly out to left. First pitch. Fastball upstairs. 1-0. Ball and 0 strikes the count to Assumption. Holden Jackson standing on second. 1-0, swung on, ball's hit to second. Stop is made on the play by Dyke, and his throw to first is off the bag, but they'll get the tag against Sumption for the out. So that'll be 4-3, but it moves Jackson over to third. One down, man 90 feet from home. That's going to bring up Ryan Schmidt. If Schmidt leaves the ballpark, game ends. Hardhats have a 10-2 lead right now with one out in the bottom of the sixth. Baez, first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1. It's tough going from a pitcher in Ty Core who did not have a really fast fastball to Baez who can actually throw gas. He's got to mess with these guys and their timing a bit. 0-1, swung on and missed, and that looked like a changeup. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to count here to Schmidt. Baez already has a strikeout in relief. And the 0-2. Fastball high and away. Ball and 2 strikes. Post 22 with a 10-2 lead and a man on third. One out here in the bottom of the sixth. 1-2. Caught him looking. Strike 3. Strikeout number 2 for Baez. 2 down for the Hardhats with a man 90 feet from home. Here comes Ryan Bachman. Bachman's 1 for 3. A ribby single. A fielder's choice. A reach on an error. 2 RBIs. And 2 runs scored. Excuse me, 1 run scored. His first pitch, a called strike on a fastball. 0-1. If Bachman's retired, the Zephyrs will send 6, 7, and 8 in the order. Starting off with Core over at first. 0-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's flared foul. And out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. To Bachman. Post 22 with a 10-2 lead. Holden Jackson 90 feet from home here in the bottom of the sixth. Wesco Zephyrs lost on the 10-run rule. 13-3 in the bottom of the sixth of the Expos. The Hardhats with 2 more runs can duplicate that. 0-2 is a fastball that missed low and away. 1-2 now to Bachman. Here's the 1-2. Fastball high and away again, 2-2. Two-two pitch. Caught him looking, strike 3. And that will end the bottom half of the sixth. Post 22 has no runs on a hit, no errors charged to the Zephyrs, and a man 90 feet from home. We played 6 innings of baseball. The Hardhats get 3 outs. Ball game comes to an end. They have a 10-2 lead over the Zephyrs. We'll be right back with the top half of the 7th inning here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 is 3 outs away from getting the win here against the Wesco Zephyrs. Their only action of the day. The Wesco Zephyrs, representing Scottsbluff, Nebraska, took on the Expos in Game 1. And they lost to the Expos on the 10-run rule in the bottom of the sixth. A walk-off hit. 13-3 was the final score. Post 22 currently has a 10-2 lead after 6 innings of play. And on defense, barring a massive meltdown, are 3 outs away from taking the win and giving the Post 22 organization a sweep over the Zephyrs. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Ty Core, Graham Robbins, Nate Blackos, the 3 gentlemen scheduled to hit in this inning. First pitch from Sumption hit high in the air to right center field. Messer on the run, makes the catch. And just like that, Ty Core is retired. One pitch, one up, one down. And that's going to bring us to Graham Robbins, the left fielder. Core potentially will finish 1 for 3 with a single, a strikeout, and a flyout. Robbins 0 for 2, ground out to short, and then he grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. Here's his first pitch. Swung on, ball's fouled. 0-1. The ball's in a strike to count here to Robbins. Hardhats with a 10-2 lead and 1 out. Top of the final inning. Next pitch, chopped to third. Jackson gets it on a crazy skip, and his throw to first is in time for out number 2. You know, that play on TV probably looks harmless, but that ball hit the lip where the grass and the dirt meet, and it ricocheted. Instead of taking a hop, it took like almost a low ricochet. Holden Jackson obviously was square up to the ball, so regardless of where it went, he still made a great stop. That was a much harder play than he gives it credit for with the way he fielded it. 2 down. Nate Blackos looks at ball 1, low and away. 1-0 the count to Blackos, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out to short and a strikeout. Next pitch is swung on, hit to short. Messenger, a great stop on a crazy hop. His throw to first is in time, and that'll end the ball game in 1-2-3 fashion. Post 22 takes the win, 10-2, the final score. Final numbers across the board for the Hardhats: 10 runs on 11 hits, not a single error committed. And for the Wesco Zephyrs, it's 2 runs on 5 hits with 3 errors in the field. Zach Sumption goes the distance. He gets the complete game, and he gets his first win of the season. The game started at 6:21 and ended at 6:55, so it went an hour and 34 minutes. Folks, we'll take a quick step aside. When we come back, we will recap the game and then set the table for the Gopher Classic this week here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and Renewal by Anderson. Post 22 takes the win 10-2 over the Wesco Zephyrs after 6.5 innings of regulation ball and 94 minutes of game time. Post 22 jumped out to an early 4-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Todd Stevens, Matt Hegery both got on the base path and came around to score. Dylan Ritchie walked, he came around, and Ryan Schmidt had an RBI single in the inning, as well as Ryan Bachman and Branson Keel. All RBI hits for those 3 gentlemen. Post 22 jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and they just never looked back. Zach Sumption went the distance, pitching 7 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 2 runs that were both earned. He struck out a pair and only walked 1 in the start. Put in a decent amount of work, too, on 70 pitches. So Zach Sumption gives the team a game so he doesn't eat out of the bullpen or the starting rotation. Post 22 gets a Big 10-2 win over the Zephyrs, who lost both games today to the Hardhats organization. The Zephyrs played the Expos in Game 1 and lost on the 10-run rule in the bottom of the 6th. 13-3 was the final, and then the Hardhats get the 10-2 win. Post 22 now advances to a 38-8 record in 46 games this season, and now they get to go into a very fun gauntlet this weekend in Minnesota. It's the annual Gopher Classic that they play in. Here is the Gopher Classic schedule as follows. At roughly noon on Friday, Mountain Time this is 1 o'clock Central, noon Mountain Time, the Hardhats will take on Stillwater Post 48 Ponies from Stillwater, Minnesota, and according to some of the rankings we've read, that's the #1 team in the state of Minnesota, so that'll be a very interesting matchup for Post 22 right off the hop. That's all they'll have on Friday, just the one game at 12:05, and then at Saturday, they'll take on Chanhassen Post 580 Cavaliers. That'll go on at 2:30 Mountain Time. Shortly after, at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, they'll take on the Burnsville Cobras, the host of the region that they're in, and that'll do it for all of Saturday's matchups. So 2:30 and 5 on Saturday. Sunday, they'll play early in the morning against the Regina, Saskatchewan Athletics, and then that'll be at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And then Sunday, the 15th, they'll take on the Rochester Patriots. That'll happen roughly at noon on Sunday, the 15th. If the Hardhats win their pool, they will advance to bracket play. That starts Monday. Potentially a doubleheader to be had in that. If not, they'll come right back home. And that is all she wrote. Folks, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Next time we'll see you on the air on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV is at noon on Friday as Post 22 takes on the #1 team in Minnesota, Stillwater, to kick off the Gopher Classic. For all of us with the Post 22 organization, from the general manager Wayne Sullivan to Kelvin Torvey and company, the head coach, as well as our good friends at Halgo Broadcasting and ESPN Rapid City, this is Mark Benetti saying so long, good night, and we'll see you from Minnesota on Friday afternoon.